In this video, we're going to an island appropriately nicknamed Diver's Paradise. So, of course, we're going to take you into the water. We're also going to share a bit of history, a few insights we gained during our visit, and some of the lesser-known but must-see locations on this charming little dollop of land in the Caribbean. It's secret destinations. Bonaire is here, in the Leeward Antilles, and is a special municipality of the Netherlands. Bonaire is the B in the ABC Islands, which sit about 50 miles off the coast of Venezuela. Aruba and Curacao are the B and C. The climate is arid, with warm, sunny weather year-round. The runway is oriented east-west, so the approach path brings you in right next to Klein Bonaire, this little islet off the west coast. A group of divers worked to assure that it remained undeveloped, and in 1999, the government bought it for just that reason. In 2001, it came under the protection of the Bonaire National Marine Park, which includes all the waters surrounding Bonaire from the high tide mark to a depth of 200 feet. The U.S. constructed an airstrip on Bonaire during World War II to assist in their mission of protecting oil tankers and the refineries in Curacao and Aruba from German U-boats. That airstrip evolved into what is now Flamingo International Airport. There is a visitor's entry tax of $75 per person per visit. The easiest way to pay it is online at tourismtax.bonaire.gov.com. You can also pay upon arrival at the airport or in the office of the Harbor Village Marina if you arrive by boat. If you want to go in the water anywhere around the island or visit Washington Slagbaai National Park, you will need to buy nature passes for each person in your group. They are $40 per person and are valid for 1 calendar year, January 1st to December 31st. Now, as I said, Bonaire's nickname is Diver's Paradise, and this was our main reason for visiting. Bonaire is pretty flat and very dry, so there's not a lot else to do but play in the water. If diving isn't your thing, there's world-class kite and windsurfing, and Lac Bay is very sheltered, offers kayaking among the mangroves and entry-level snorkeling. There is also a huge flamingo sanctuary, and then, it's an island in the Caribbean, so if you're looking to just chill and sip cocktails on the beach, Bonaire's game is pretty strong in that regard, too. We stayed at Blow's Resort, barely 5 minutes by rental car from the airport. Being so close to the airport really wasn't a big deal. I don't recall hearing a single plane from our apartment. This resort is great. We booked a small studio, which had everything we needed. Fully equipped kitchen, nice bathroom with plenty of towels. It even had a drying rack for our suits and gear. If you want to really splurge, there are a couple of epic penthouses with west-facing views of the Caribbean. At the opposite end of the pool from the bar and restaurant is Beyond the Corals Dive Center. And regardless of where you stay, we recommend booking your dives with them. They're an international team, and everyone was friendly, courteous, professional, and talented. They go above and beyond to make your trip the best it can be. We just love these folks. We'd booked 5 dives ahead of time at $100 per person per dive, including rental gear. Our first dive was the morning of our first full day. Our guide was Rosa, a marine biologist from Spain, and our fellow guest was this guy from Italy. Much of Bonaire's southern half has been made into a giant system of ponds and pools, which evaporate seawater to produce salt. These salt works produce an average of 400,000 tons of industrial-grade salt per year. The pink color comes from a microorganism called halophilic bacteria. Now, they need a way to get all of that salt off the island and onto ships, which brings us to our first dive site, the salt pier. Bonaire's salt flats have been worked as far back as the 1600s, when the labor was done by enslaved people. This pier was built in the 1960s and is designed for large vessels to dock in deep water, avoiding the need for smaller barges. The reefs on Bonaire are fringe reefs, so don't be dismayed when all you see is sand for the first 100 yards or so. The scenery is well worth the wait. I forgot about equalizing my mask at one point and ended up with what divers call mask squeeze. So before I show you what I looked like, I want to assure you that it was totally painless. Nice, right? Looking like that in public for a few days was enough to cure me. I doubt I'll ever forget to equalize my mask again. Fortunately, in Bonaire, people are used to seeing this, so I didn't have to field any awkward questions. Just a few minutes away from Blows, there are grocery stores. Near the end of the road by the roundabout is Vandentwiel. This is a Dutch market with a fancy vibe and lots of products from the Netherlands. Half a block down, across the road, is Warehouse Bonaire. This place was much more our speed. Huge variety, a ton of fresh produce, household goods, first aid stuff, everything. Landhouse Karpata is about 30 minutes up the coast. This was a plantation built around 1870. As with most similar operations, the abolition of slavery put their business model in the crapper, and it was eventually abandoned. I've read online that there are hopes to restore it as a historical center. Nothing in the works as far as I know. At the southern end sits the fully renovated and operational Willemstoren Lighthouse, with the ruins of the original keeper's cottage nearby. This station was established in 1837 and was first lit on King Willem's birthday. Our second dive wasn't at a named entry point, but it was just south of the site called the Invisibles, which had no parking available. Our guide was Robin, who's from the Netherlands. During dinner that second evening, Wendy started feeling a little punky. At first, she thought it was a reaction to the histamines in the wine, but by bedtime, she was officially sick. So we didn't dive on Sunday. Rather, I spent a good part of the morning driving around Bonaire trying to find some medicine. This proved to be pretty difficult, I guess because it was Sunday. I even went to the pharmacy at the hospital without any luck. On the plus side, this turned out to be a great way to learn the roads and find a few shortcuts that came in handy later. I finally hit pay dirt at Lisa convenience store, which became a favorite stop for the rest of the week. Great selection and a friendly proprietor. Lake Goto, or Goto, I'm not really sure how it's pronounced to be honest, is a 35-acre saline lagoon that was formed when coral growth created a natural dam, isolating the lake's water from the sea. Not only is it beautiful, it's also an important feeding and breeding ground for flamingos. It's located within Washington Slagbaai National Park, and it feels kind of like an oasis by the time you get there. The easiest way to reach it from Kralendijk is to head straight up the Queens Highway and turn right just before the BOPEC oil storage facility. Which, I gotta say, it feels like almost anywhere would have been a better location for that, am I right? A point brought into clear focus in 2010 when lightning struck one of the tanks. In the resulting fire, about 8.5 million gallons of crude oil were lost. And since then, the color of the lake water has changed, and flamingo sightings have decreased significantly. On the plus side, huge steps have been taken toward improving readiness for accidents involving large amounts of oil, including the acquisition of equipment and materials and constant training in how best to respond to accidents at BOPEC. Washington Slagbaai was the first nature sanctuary of the Netherlands Antilles and was established in 1969. It provides safe habitat for several endemic and endangered species, as well as the island's famous flamingos. The beaches within the park are an important nesting ground for all 4 species of sea turtles found in the Caribbean. Stony coral tissue loss disease is a serious threat to the island's coral reefs, so all dive and snorkeling gear must be sanitized. Dive shops will do it, and there are public sanitation stations all over the place. Due to SCTLD, diving has been banned in the national park, but snorkeling is still permitted. You must sanitize your gear at this station under the watchful eyes of the head ranger before you can enter the park. The national park itself is a 4,286-hectare protected area located in the northwest part of the island, with the main entrance located up here. To reach it from the capital, you take a circuitous route across the lower part of the island and then up, where you might run into a random donkey by the side of the road.
Picture! He's cute! He's just looking at you, saying, I'm waiting. Look at his hairdo. Just a bigger. Look at his little hairdo, it's so cute! He's looking at you. Take a picture of me, I'm pretty. You're so pretty. I want to pet him. I wonder if he'll let me pet him.
I'm going to pet the donkey.
I wonder if he'll let me. I wonder if I got out and I went up to him, he'd let me pet him.
I don't think so.
I want to try.
And we'll most definitely see some goats.
Look how cute they are. His little tails.
The route also takes you through the village of Rincon, which, at less than 1,900 people, is the second largest town on the island, because there are only 2 formally recognized towns. Rincon was established in 1527 by the Spanish, and the location was chosen because it was out of sight from pirates and there was fresh water for agriculture. We spent one afternoon taking a road trip up to and through the park, during which we stopped for some snorkeling at a site called Wagon 2, where the parking lot had one of the best welcome wagons ever. I know. Do you want me to move? Do you not like me here? Big dude. Don't bite me.
He's gonna bite you. He's begging. Adorable. We've got snacks for them. You know what? I've got cranberries.
3 cruise ships visited the island during our stay. They are so big, and the island is so flat, that you can see them clearly with the naked eye, literally from the opposite coast of the island. At one point, there were 2 of them docked at the same time, and I gotta say, we're not big fans. It's like you blink and the population doubles. The result of them being in port was that we just stayed away from Kralendijk most of the week. However, the real issue arose when the cruise passengers joined forces with some of the regular vacationers to create our true nemesis on Bonaire. The damn golf cart caravans. Oh my God. They drive like 10 miles an hour, and They just will not get out of the way. I mean, I get it. You're on vacation, but come on, people. Like, a little consideration goes a long way. Just use your mirrors and move aside. Thank you very much. We always put towels on the seats when our bathing suits are damp, and mine never stays in place, even when I tuck it in carefully. But Wendy's always does. I asked her about it one day after we picked up her wine.
How come your towel stays up and mine doesn't?
Because I just tucked it.
I did the same thing.
It's better than
I'd like it smells sick. Everything's just easy, isn't it? At least I get jokes.
Well, there's that.
Oh, God.
On Monday, dive number 3 was at Margate Bay, which gets its name from the schools of black margates often seen there. I flew this one solo, and there were 2 guides this time, but like a dummy, I only managed to write Mia's name in my dive log. I was buddied with the other woman who demonstrated the importance of patience when searching amongst the corals. Earlier, I touched on the history of slavery here. As with much of the Caribbean, Bonaire's got a really dark past. By 1837, Bonaire's enslaved workforce was producing 4 grades of salt in huge quantities. The Dutch government built 4 colored obelisks in red, white, blue, and orange, which told ships' captains where to land for whatever grade of salt they were after. In 1850, the Dutch West Indies Company built these huts at each of the obelisk sites. Made of coral stone and too low to stand up in, with no windows or doors, they were designed to house 2 adults, but typically held many more than that. Harvested with pickaxes, shovels, and wheelbarrows, this photo from the mid-20th century shows that salt harvesting methods changed very slowly from the slavery era. It wasn't until the 60s and 70s, 100 years after emancipation, that mechanization began in any real way. In the neighborhood near our apartment, I kept seeing a sign featuring a donkey. When I was finally able to read it, I just had to describe it to Wendy.
You got these little signs on the gates with the donkey. See that? I finally just read it.
Yeah.
It says, "This friendly visitor leaves behind more than his footsteps. So we ask our guests at night to please keep the gates closed."
Because they come in and wander around?
They come in and poo, I guess.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Wendy unfortunately had to sit out the final dive too. For this one, I was back with Rosa, and she chose the site Angel City. It was just 4 minutes from the dive center. Along with us this time was a guy who flew all the way down from Alaska for the experience. If you're a diver and Bonaire wasn't already on your list, I hope it is now. If you're not certified, maybe consider it. It's not physically demanding, it's easy to learn with a good instructor, and it's probably the most peaceful of the adventure activities. Like I said earlier, though, while Bonaire is diver's paradise, there are plenty of people who holiday there who don't dive. There are dozens of excellent resorts, and hey, there's nothing wrong with relaxing by the pool or on the beach and maybe doing a little shopping in Kralendijk. Whatever you decide, I hope you've enjoyed this little taste of what our trip was like. We're hoping to return one of these days so that Wendy can make up for the dive she missed out on. Maybe we'll see you there. Thanks as always for watching. See you in the next one.